Having diabetes doesn't mean you have to give up your favorite classic comfort foods like mac and cheese. To make this classic dish more diabetes friendly, we use just as many veggies as pasta and just enough cheese to get that creaminess we love while keeping our sodium and saturated fat in check. This delicious recipe is like broccoli cheddar casserole meets mac and cheese, and it'll be your new favorite way to make this classic dish. For the skillet broccoli mac and cheese, you'll need 4 cups of broccoli, 10 ounces penne pasta, 3/4 of a teaspoon kosher salt, 1 cup plus 3 tablespoons of shredded cheddar cheese, 1 3/4 cup of low-fat milk, ½ teaspoon smoked paprika, 2 tablespoons butter, 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, 2 tablespoons flour, 3 tablespoons of panko. Every mac and cheese starts with great pasta. So I have whole wheat penne pasta that I'm using for my broccoli cheddar mac and cheese today. And what I love about this is it bumps up the fiber content, which helps us feel fuller for longer. I also already have my oven preheated to 425, so when we're ready to stick the skillet in to get that bubbly, cheesy goodness, it's ready to go. We'll cook our pasta to the package instructions, about 8 to 9 minutes or al dente, and then we're gonna move on to our broccoli. I have my broccoli here and I'm going to chop it into florets. This ends up being about 4 cups of broccoli. And broccoli is a great addition to pasta dishes, especially this mac and cheese, because it has a lot of fiber. It also contains some vitamin K, which is great for people with diabetes because people with diabetes are at an increased risk of heart disease, and vitamin K helps to reduce that risk. We're gonna add this broccoli to the last minute of the pasta boiling. Mac and cheese is one of those classic favorites that I think everybody just has a nostalgia for. And it's just one of those things that reminds me of gatherings with family. My mom would always make this like huge like aluminum tin of mac and cheese when we would have our family gatherings. And it was just like one of those things that everybody gravitated to and looked forward to, and just one of those dishes that everybody loves. So I love taking, you know, that like healthier spin on mac and cheese and making it just as good, just as cheesy, just as delicious, but making it a little healthier with some extra added veggies and ingredients. All right, and in goes the broccoli. And this is just going to boil for a minute with the pasta to blanch it. This may not seem like that long to cook the broccoli, but we're still gonna bake it in the oven so it'll continue to cook and soften as it's warmed through when it's in the oven. Pasta is cooked, broccoli is blanched, and so we're gonna turn off our stove and move it over and drain it in a colander. We've wiped our pot clean and now it's time to make the roux. And what the roux is a butter and flour mixture that gives mac and cheese its really creamy, delicious texture. So we're gonna start out with our butter and add that to the pan first. And we'll just let our butter melt in the pan. And no need to do this on super high heat either. You just wanna get everything melted together. And once our butter is melted, we'll add our flour and we'll just sprinkle that right over the top. And what we're gonna do with our flour is just kind of toast it. So we're gonna whisk it with the butter until it becomes a nice golden brown color. And once that gets golden brown in color, we'll start to whisk in our milk, and we'll do this slowly. So we're gonna add our milk in just a little bit at a time and keep whisking until it gets to be a smooth texture. And you'll add all of your milk in there, so don't think that you're adding too much or too little. You have the exact right amount that you need to make your roux. You're gonna pour in your milk and whisk until the mixture is smooth, and that takes about 5 minutes. Here's our roux. It looks nice and thick. It's been cooking for about 5 minutes, and so it's almost ready for our cheese and spices. It's ready to go, so I'm turning off the heat, and then we're gonna add our salt and paprika. And we'll give it a good whisk to incorporate those. Next up is our cheese. So we'll add our 1 cup of cheddar cheese. And also my favorite, 3 tablespoons of Parmesan. Then we'll stir it together. It's gonna become this really delicious looking, creamy sauce. Okay, this is how you know you're on the right track. Check out my pot. It's looking good, it's looking creamy, but when you lift it and you get that ribbon of cheese, that's it. That's when you know you're on the right track and you're gonna have the best mac and cheese. Now it's time to add our drained pasta to the sauce. And then we'll just give this a good stir so everything gets coated in that delicious cheese sauce. It looks so good. Yum. Check out that melty cheese. And we're just gonna keep giving it a good stir until everything is nicely coated. Now we're ready to pour everything into the cast iron skillet. And I love using my cast iron because it gets everything super hot and bubbly, but it can also just go from the oven to the table or the stove to the table really quickly, no extra dishes, and you can serve right out of it. And we'll just scoop our pasta in to our cast iron. And we do want to be sure we get it on one even layer so everything bakes evenly. Now we're going to top it with 3 tablespoons of cheddar cheese. So we'll just sprinkle it over the top in one layer. And then optionally, you can add panko breadcrumbs, and that's just going to give it a nice extra crunch. Now we're going to transfer our cast iron to our preheated oven, and we're going to cook it until the cheese melts and is bubbly in some spots. That'll take about 20 minutes. So that's gonna be the longest 20 minutes of my life because I can't wait to eat this. It's been about 20 minutes, so it's time to pull our mac and cheese from the oven. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. Hopefully cheesy and bubbly. Oh, it looks so good, so cheesy, so bubbly. Ooh, check it out. So cheesy and bubbly. It looks so delicious. This mac and cheese has 3 carb servings or 45 grams of carbs per serving. And that's a totally normal amount of carbs for someone with diabetes to eat at a meal. So you don't really have to worry about the carb count being too high. This is right within where you need to be. It is gooey, it's creamy, it's got those like nice little crunchy bits on the top that like I absolutely love from baked mac and cheese. The pasta is so nicely coated, so I know every bite is gonna have that cheesiness that I love, and I'm gonna give it a little taste. I feel like this brings me back. Totally reminds me of my mom's mac and cheese. I love that creaminess. I love the little bits of broccoli in there. They're nice and surprising, but not overwhelming so that you don't think of it as like not a mac and cheese or like a healthy mac and cheese. I think it adds something nice to the dish, and we know the health benefits are there too.